good. Let him tickle a few times. Might be the first and last time ever, yeah.
Oh yeah, at least here you're covered actually, aren't you? Yeah.
Thank you very much. Sorry about the stress.
Forward to seeing the return of a world-class British and Irish Lion, but he ain't gonna make it. He's out. He'll be replaced by Stephen Hughes in the centre. Stephen Hughes wasn't actually even meant to be on the bench, but he travelled, and good job he did because he's in. Here's the Ulster side. Marcel Coetzee will be targeting those centres, no doubt. Great to see him back. He again has had a terrible time through injury. Henry Spate is also starting, a debut for Ulster, and that's Billy Burns. Is he the man to take over Ulster's number 10 position? Will he be Ulster's new fly half? He certainly is today. Johnny McPhillips not on the bench, so a lot expected from Billy Burns. So it's Ulster against Scarlets, live here in Belfast from the Kingspan Stadium. Well, so many different storylines around this game, but they've all just had to be ripped up because certainly there's no story bigger, Sean Hawley, than the absence of Jonathan Davies when he is here, so near and yet so far from a true rugby legend.
Yeah, desperately disappointed for John. Trims and I just walked across, congratulated him on seeing him back, and he must have done something in the warm-up there because, as you saw, Wayne Pivac rushed onto the field. He's clearly made the call. I think Jonathan wanted to play on, but you know, there's a lot of games to go in this season, both club and international level, and Steph Hughes comes in. It just shows the beauty of travelling with a 24th and 25th reserve.
Yeah, absolutely, and of course there's a World Cup at the end of this season as well, so there'll be Welsh rugby fans biting their fingernails, I imagine. Let's talk about Ulster, Andrew. That was one of the big stories, was that Dan McFarlane's first game as a head coach and first game here at Ulster. He's only been here for 2 weeks. He won't have had enough time to influence things, you wouldn't imagine.
No, I think he'll subtly make an influence in the last couple of weeks. There's a couple of other coaches have kind of come to the fore over the summer, and they've had to put their hand up and take a lot more responsibility than they probably would have been expecting. But Dan's come in there. I'm sure he's cracking the whip and he's getting the boys all set. There's an exciting kind of feel about the team at the minute. I think they're very, very keen to move on and just forget about last year. And by talking to a couple of the boys, it seems like last year is a distant memory, so they're excited about what they can do this year. It's
easy to be down on them for last season, but we should remember they finished with 5 wins on the bounce. They made the Champions Cup. There's got to be some momentum that they can take from that, albeit they lost a lot of players, including yourself and Tommy and guys like that in the summer.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they've lost a few guys and they've signed a few guys, and hopefully those guys will be pretty influential. One guy who's definitely going to be influential is Coetzee. He's been very, very unlucky the last couple of years, and I think in the previous couple of seasons it's always been the Scarlets back row that have dominated defensively, got over the ball and just made carnage of Ulster's fast ball or anybody's fast ball. And I think there's an opportunity. That's a back row that compete. Marcel Coetzee, Sean Reedy and Nick Timley, that's a physical back row that compete with the Scarlets back row.
Let's talk about the number 10, Billy Burns. We saw him in the warm-up there. Sean, what have you made of him? Is that a good signing?
Yeah, he's a good signing. You don't get many English players, dare I say, playing in the Pro 14, so it'll be a different kind of rugby for him, but he's now all Irish qualified, of course, and that's what he said he wants to pin his badge, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he copes with this, because the Scarlets will bring a little bit of line speed. They're very aggressive off the ball, so he won't have it all his own way on the front foot, but a proven player. I think it's a good signing for Ulster.
What does it say about the way that they want to play this season, that he's starting the first game under Dan McFarlane?
Yeah, it says a lot, because he's an attacking fly half. He plays flat to the line. He tries things. And, you know, of course, he's got good players around him. He's got McCloskey and Darren Cave, two experienced centres. And, you know, if he gets into any trouble, he can look to them. So, you know, it's an exciting battle tonight with him and Rhys Patchell. You know, very similar players, but not similar in stature.
You mentioned Marcel Coetzee, Andrew. I've only ever seen him in the flesh once. He was wearing a suit, and I felt sorry for the suit, nearly coming apart at the seams. He's a big physical specimen. What will he bring to this Ulster pack that might have been missing in his absence last year?
He's a monster. He's an absolute monster. There's a little bit of subtlety there in that back row. There's a little bit of balance, but Marcel, I think we know exactly what we're going to get with him. He's going to get over the gain line. He's going to get us fast ball.
Nothing too subtle about a guy built like that. I'm looking forward to seeing him. He's almost like a new signing, Sean, isn't he? Because he's played so little rugby here. Only 5, I think, games over the last couple of years.
Yeah, and a proven international. And don't forget, you got Ian Henderson in the second row as well. He's a back 5 player, so that's quite a mobile pack they got, albeit a physical and big pack. And I think that's where the difference in the game will be tonight, because the Scarlets are depleted in that area. No Jake Ball. They've lost Ty Byrne. John Barkley's gone. And new signing, Kasim is out injured as well, so it could be a point of difference.
Let's hear from the two directors of rugby then. Wayne Pivac and Dan McFarlane have been speaking to Mark Robson.
Last season very much an annus horribilis for Ulster, but of course nothing to do with you. But you've only been here for what, 12 days, a fortnight. What impact have you had, and what is Dan's plan?
What impact have I had? Well, the first 2 weeks have been spent assessing the situation, getting to know the players, getting to know the staff. In terms of impact, I think I've been very clear in what I want from them from day one, and as I get to know them over the next few weeks, we'll find out who's willing to step up.
Wayne, 6 knockout games in the last 2 seasons, plus a trophy. How do you maintain that momentum this season?
Certainly a lot of hard work, in the off-season, making sure the boys, are in the right condition to kick it off here with hopefully a good performance in round 1. Making sure that we don't sort of relax too much and believe that we're the finished articles. So we know that we're not, and there's a lot of work to be done. And a lot of teams are doing a lot of work in the off-season and obviously working out how we play the game. So we've got to try and stay one step ahead.
We've got to show a competitive edge. I think that's absolutely key. It's what the fans here want. It's what the people of Ulster want. It's what what's driven Ulster over a number of years. We need to demonstrate that on the pitch. I'll be looking for the players who are willing to stand up and do that. And I think in the first 2 weeks that'll be exciting for me to look at and try and pick that out.
There's a lot of things going on behind the scenes, and for me now it's just focusing on each week, preparing the team as we would normally, so nothing changes there, and I'm sure those things will take care of themselves.
Let's pick up with Wayne Pivac, Sean. Obviously during that interview he wasn't aware that he was about to lose a 15th player to injury. They've already got 14 in the sick bay, but the 15th surely is the biggest concern for him right now. It's
the quality of player that is missing. Samson Lee in the front row, Jake Paul in the second row, Kasim, as I mentioned, at 8. So Johnny McNichol in the back 3. They've got quality in the back line, but to lose Jonathan Davis now off the back of Hadley Parks, who's been instrumental in the Scarlet success in the last 2 years, it's a hammer blow. So they've still got on paper, quality players. You look to the bench, it might be a little bit different now tonight.
I think when the word reaches the rest of the people in the stadium, there'll be a general sense of disappointment, not just from the Scarlets fans, but everybody wants to see the best players in the world in their home ground if they can, even if they are members of the opposition. We don't yet know the extent of this injury, but it just doesn't look good, Sean.
No, it doesn't look good, and he's been plagued with injuries, but when he's playing, he's an absolute quality player. Left-footed option. It's a big call now for young Stephen Hughes, who's travelled as a travelling reserve, to step into the shoes, not just straight straight off the plane, but to fill the boots of Jonathan Davis. Of course, he was the Lions man of the series not so long ago, and a quality individual. He leads the defence for the Scarlets as well, which is important. But Steph Hughes, he's got a good head on young shoulders. He's captained the Scarlets in the other competitions, and so he won't let the Scarlets down. But surely they lack the quality now that Jonathan Davis brings.
There they are in the dressing room getting ready to go. Of course, you have to react to situations. This happens fairly often in rugby. There's always injuries in the warm-ups, but it's certainly not what they've been looking at. It's going to be an interesting season anyway for Wayne Pivac, given that we know he's got the Wales job. You've been a coach. There's bound to, I know they've said, look, I'm 100% focused on this job, but there's bound to be a little bit of a distraction, surely.
Yeah, it will be, and add to that the speculation that he may take Stephen Jones, who's been instrumental as well behind the scenes with this Scarlets team. So, but having said that, the players will galvanise. They'll understand that Wayne is leaving, and possibly Stephen the end of the season. So, they will go all out this year to do the best they can. They've got 4 home games in the first 6 matches of this Guinness Pro 14. So, they've got a chance to start well and do what they've done in the last 2 seasons.
What a game in prospect. Ulster's first match under Dan McFarland. Commentary from Andrew Trimble and first Mark Robson.
There's a feeling of freshness about the Kingspan Stadium. Ulster need a new beginning after a season past that delivered far too much angst on and off the pitch and no knockout rugby. The Scarlets, on the other hand, appeared in a Guinness Pro 14 final and a European semi-final. 2 teams clashing from, in terms of recent outcomes, the opposite sides of the Celtic rugby tracks. 15 on the Scarlets injury list, but still a strong side. Rob Evans, one of the best loose heads in Europe, and new signing Blade Thompson in the back row. Beware effervescent James Davis. Late news, bad news. Lion star Jonathan Davis pulled up in the warm-up, so Steph Hughes comes into midfield. New signing Sam Hidalgo-Klein and Clayton Blue-McKee's start. Well, they still have a Lion. They've lost one. Jonathan Davis, man of the series in New Zealand, but Ken Owens, he was on the bench for Jamie George in all 3 test matches, so the experience is still there. Well, for Ulster, perhaps realism is a word that their fans can bear in mind, and there is perhaps the greatest Ulsterman of recent times, Rory Best. Today he can only look on and hope that his side produces a victory on day 1 of this new season. Well, the Scarlets, they know what lifting a trophy feels like. Very few clubs get to claim silver polish on their tax return. The Welshmen want more success. Ulster started and finished last season with good results. 5 wins from 6 in the league in the opening block, and winning 4 and drawing 1 of their last 5. The final game was the what the hell happens if we lose this Champions Cup qualifier against the Ospreys. They won that. Now can Ulster bounce on from that encouraging closure? To the Ulster team, and the powerful Marcel Coetzee makes just his 6th appearance, and this is 3rd season. Ian Henderson free to play, the international involved in the Summer Series win in Australia. 3 debuts from summer signings in the backs. Billy Burns, Henry Spate and Will Addison. On the bench, Chris Henry is beginning his testimonial season. And the referee is from Italy, the very experienced Marius Maitreya. Well, included amongst Ulster's 5 wins from the first league block of 6 last season was the scalp of the Scarlets, beaten 27-20 at the Kingspan, a match that climaxed with a thrilling finish. Are we going to see the same sort of thing at the Kingspan today? Nerves, I'm sure, for Billy Burns, signed from Gloucester, Irish qualified, grandparent from Cork, another new signing, this time in a scarlet shirt, Sam Hidalgo-Klein clearing into touch. Well, Andrew Trimble has raced his way up to the commentary position. What can Ulster expect from Scarlets and vice versa?
First of all, sorry I'm late, I've lost a little bit of pace there. So anyway, very straightforward start from Ulster, just bang it down there and get a set piece, get into the game.
Here is John Cooney.
People sidestep on you, you do hallucinate. Another dimension.
It's going to a wedding.
Just back. Ben Jackson's refereeing it all line out over as soon as the jump got his arms up, which was outside 15. Tapped it down, scrum half straight out to out half. Out half split 2 men to a wing forward who picked the winger inside loop and brought everybody up to if the skip pass went this way, he went that way. The winger came around in between into the gap, the board brought to spin this way, gone straight through